So, Sam, how do you build a high-quality culture?
The short answer of how to build a good culture is to put a lot of effort into it.
Honesty and respect are interesting because to me they seem like pretty basic values that every company would at least try to possess. And that is precisely what I thought when I saw the words honesty and respect on the discussion points ahead of my conversations. Though after my interviews, it was clear that honesty and respect was far more than a bullet point. Here's how honesty and respect is exhibited within the Levels culture.
For engineering, I think one aspect of respect is you should not be afraid to judging your colleagues' work, because that's a healthy thing to moving forward, to just point out what needs to be improved.
One of the big ways that we think about ingraining honesty and respect into our culture is really in the hiring process.
We really just focus on hiring people that from the very beginning, even before we hire them, they're people that we respect and want to learn from.
Now, can you touch on how you maintain a respectful culture when everyone's not in the same room?
Respect, especially in an asynchronous remote culture, requires, I think, going above and beyond to establish intent, to understand your team, understand their intentions, and provide the benefit of the doubt.
I am excited about the kind of company that we're building, the way that we treat and respect employees, the intentionality behind the processes that we roll out, the approach to culture that we're taking. To me, that's incredibly interesting and exciting.
Now, how is respect exhibited at Levels? What does it look like?
The foundation I want to answer this question with is just really the amazing amount of respect that I have for my coworkers and the team at Levels. It's kind of incredible to think that a lot of people I haven't even met in person before, and yet I have some of the deepest respect for these people of anyone I know in my life.
I haven't had much to disagree with anyone about at Levels so far, so I haven't had to think about that too deeply yet, but I found so far that the team overall is really values respectful discourse.
Everyone is very nice. And very supportive, a lot of kind of virtual high fives and backslapping. And I think that's nice. When you're not in the same room, you need to sort of almost like exaggerate the communication a bit.
The fact that you're getting to really see people's deep thought process on things through our documentation culture. Some of the memos I've read from people like Ben or Tom or Sam or Mike Haney, reading through these, I mean, seeing how their brain is thinking about something and structuring sort of this vision and argument for how to do it breeds a huge amount of respect.
The other part of respect is respect your audience, respect your members, respect their intelligence, respect their time. So we could do a whole bunch of things in content that would probably get more clicks and that might even be, in some cases, more appealing for customers if we could say, hey, eat this, but don't eat that. That's the answer. Here's exactly what you need to know about cholesterol. But the reality is that the reality is not that simple. And respecting our audience and our members sometimes means saying, hey, it's not that simple.
Right.
In most companies, the reason why they fail is there's too much CYA, cover your ass. People don't want to be responsible for things. They want to diffuse the responsibility so that when a project fails, there's no person who can be blamed for it. There's no one left holding the bag.
We think about asynchronous versus synchronous communication as respecting each other's time. Time is that finite resource, and there's just not enough hours in the day.
Every single person at the company that we have hired are people that I have already learned from and I'm excited to continue to learn from. And in that, a lot of respect is generated.
Let's talk a little bit about honesty. How are honesty and respect intertwined?
Honesty really helps to build relationships, especially for the people you probably never met in person.
I think the big thing is to make sure that people understand that we really do treat people like adults. And as a result, we also expect people to act like adults.
Honesty builds trust, and trust is the foundation for all great relationships. Sometimes it can be easier to have difficult conversations in person because you can read emotions and body language a lot better and you can get to a common place, but it doesn't mean it's not possible.
It's really a freedom to be honest. It's a freedom to say, sorry, Sam, I just disagree with you. I think we just are trying to breed a culture of like, hey, feel free to be honest. Nobody's going to get their feelings hurt.
You know, a software engineer questioning the CEO and be like, I think you're wrong here, XYZ, you know, and here's what I think is a alternative perspective. It's very liberating.
There's just a genuine level of curiosity and kindness in approaching situations. We have a culture that invites feedback very openly. A lot of people here say, like, I want the feedback, give it to me exactly as you see it, give it to me often.
Do you have any examples of honest communication within the company?
Josh actually touched on this in a recent podcast on founder dynamics, where in the early days, because he'd never worked remotely before, my communication cadence is extremely high, arguably too high, and Josh was not used to that. And for outbound for himself, when I would ask him, like, hey, what are you working on? What can I help with? Where do things stand? He felt personally attacked by it in the early days because he felt like I was micromanaging or like I didn't trust that he was getting his work done. But when he reflected on it, he realized, like, wait, I'm in Philadelphia, he's in San Francisco. How on earth could he know what I'm doing?
There's a phrase we've used here in talking about these cultural values that we're a workplace, not a family.
Sure.
And while that can sound kind of cold, I think that's actually really useful in this case. It's like, hey, this isn't personal. We're not going to get our feelings hurt here. This is work.
The company I worked for before employed 275,000 people. And
you're really narrowing it down.